Wilbur Sargunaraj.
It's tough. I faced challenges right from when I started learning to fly with the flying school. The flying school itself at the time was very difficult. There was a lot of gender discrimination. There was a lot of racism. We did go through all that when I was younger. And it still hasn't changed much through the years when you ask other friends and people what they've been through. And we all smile and laugh because we've all kind of been through the same thing. We shouldn't be laughing about it, but it's just that, you know, like you say, in this age of today, why are we still going through all these issues? And I think it's changing mindset. Where does it all come from? Where does it stem from, you know? It's really tough, but we've all been through that. I've had experiences in Malaysia where they pretty much, I'm not a Muslim girl, so I'm Catholic. I was there, I was a foreigner, one of the very first female corporate pilots. I'm not Malaysian, so all this was held against me. And at first they didn't want to accept me. It was very, very difficult for the males to accept me. And then slowly I had to break those boundaries and make them understand that, yes, I'm different, but I'm not as different. We're all still human beings. We're all still the same. We can still do the same things. But yeah, you go through different cycles. There's been times when I was freelancing in the UK on private jets, and a captain refused to fly point blank. He's never met me, doesn't know me, but refused to fly with me because I was a female and he just didn't want to fly with me. So that's like only 2 years ago. So it's still happening. It's still happening. It's very much a male-dominated environment.
Right.
And many of the females you speak to, I'm not sure about America, but I know in Africa the women do experience a lot. You know that in Malawi we were only allowed to wear trousers. We were not allowed to wear trousers. And the law was passed in 1995. So only in 1995 were women allowed to wear trousers. And so the airline girls used to wear long skirts below the knee, and that was their uniform, the pilots. There were only 2 female pilots at the time, and one of them had a lot of problems. You can imagine what they were doing when she was wearing skirts.
Yes.
And she faced a lot of issues with that, to the point she actually left the airline and she gave up flying because she just couldn't take the pressures anymore, which is really sad because, you know, it starts as a passion and then people obviously do it as a job, but it still remains your passion. Flying, there's something about flying that you just absolutely love, being free and being up in the sky, and you kind of leave your troubles away. And for people to have to leave it just because of the pressures they face is quite worrying and disturbing. In Malawi, we're only 4 women pilots in the entire country. And so that in itself shows, like, you know, there's not that many joining, and there's a lack of role models just in general. Some countries don't even have an airline. Forget about aviation existing.
Right.
So in Africa, but there's that aspect as well, and I think education is key. After last year with COVID, the first people that were made redundant were the women. Most of the women were laid off. A lot of the female pilots, including myself, were laid off. And so it brings us back to almost zero because a lot of the female pilots were made redundant immediately. And because most of them were first officers, a lot of the captains were male. There are very few captain female pilots in Africa. The majority are represented in Nigeria, in Kenya, Egypt, Morocco, those sort of places where you do have Ethiopian airlines, where they do have quite a majority of female captains. But on the whole, a lot were laid off. And then South African Airlines went bust. Namibian Airlines went bust. So a majority of those female pilots and those pilots in general were laid off. So it's had a huge impact, the COVID, but
right.
It's kind of brought us back to
square one.
It's only like a few years ago that Singapore Airlines allowed women to join the airline and Malaysian Airlines, because when I was working in Malaysia and Singapore at the time, they did not allow females to even apply for jobs in the airline.
Oh.
So it's only just 2-3 years ago, literally.
Well, and then there's your friend.
Small steps,
Yeah,
but it's
it
changing.
is. And there's your friend who sent us that message from Pakistan. Like Air Blues.
Arisha, yes.
Stating that only. They're in that
Males, like
they're only looking for males. Completely.
Yes.
But in
They
vice versa.
discriminated in the pilots, saying only males, and for cabin crew it was only females.
Only female,
That's
exactly.
How they discriminated.
Yeah, because if I was in Pakistan and I wanted to be cabin crew, I'm like, hey, I want to be cabin crew.
They won't allow. Well, they might take you with your long hair.
Well, come on, what you think?
Of course, you see, you might just pass on. We have to shave your beard, though.
No. Well, yeah, my mom was also, she was about that too. She was on my case for my hair and my beard. Oh my God, this is so good. So just to wrap up here, we want to thank everyone so much for being part of CQ Chats. And
thank you. Yes,
we have talked about, what is our title again? Can
girls fly?
Can girls fly? Which is such a ridiculous question. I'm sorry, but we had to put that in there because for some people it's an issue, and we have to educate these people. We have to somehow get them to confront their bias that they have.
It's changing the male mindset.
It is.
Well, even some females, I guess. I don't know. I've not really heard of females rejecting flying with other females, but I've heard of the males always complaining.
Yes.
So we have to change mindset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much,
Ivana.
Ivana.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you.
Wilbur Sargunaraj.